and welcome to this talk, my reaction on Kevin Samuels. I did record a video reaction watching one of his videos, but I felt like maybe the video itself was not giving enough injustice. So if you still want me to do that, let me know. But I decided that I'd rather just spill my ideas. If you're watching the replay, I'm going to put but I want to talk about this idea of Kevin Samuels and the high value woman. If you are not familiar with my channel, hello, I'm Karina. This is my channel, Eye of Karina TV. And on this channel, I talk a lot about spirituality, astrology, the different ways in which to study people using the cosmos. And I call it Eye of Karina because I do own that my perspective is mine and not everyone is going to agree with me. Because I'm working on holding my own space for my own views. So I would like to talk to you guys about high value women. The video that I just watched, he says that a high value woman in its most simplest forms is a woman. The first thing that I want to say is that I don't 100% disagree with this. I just think that it's only one-sided in the way in which women are to be valued. Okay. The other thing is to place a value and deem it as, you know, this is how a whole group of people should see a whole nother group of people. That is his personal value. Yes, he does have his own business. He's a consultant. So he has a lot of experience on what, you know, a certain type of person wants. But I'd just be careful with putting all of your eggs in one basket and believing that a high value woman is just based off of her feminine traits. I think that when you're looking at the spiritual community right now, the idea of femininity and masculinity is being pushed heavy. Almost like when veganism was being pushed like a few years ago. And it's like, yeah, like people should eat healthy, but why are you pushing this so damn hard? But when it comes to masculine and femininity, I think that a lot of people push the idea that femininity is about nurturing, being caring, being engulfing, encompassing, compassionate. This is very, very true. But there's also a whole other aspect of femininity, a whole other archetype of femininity that is what we would call the destroyer, the destroys and rebuilds things or rebirths things that can turn an old into a new. So there's an aspect of femininity that's not talked about enough in the spiritual community, and it's the destruction aspect. The destruction aspect is a major part of feminine archetypes when we look at certain, feminine archetypes like Kali, right? Or Oshun. Right? So we see that you can attract people by honey, but mofos will take their knives out and go and get to slashing in the feminine archetypes as well. So I wanted to clarify that because a lot of this idea of being a feminine asset, sure, if a high value woman is a feminine asset, I'll take that, but then please define the entirety of what it is to be feminine, the entirety of it, not just the parts that benefit you. Okay? So, fine, you know. The other thing about I spoke about this on my Facebook group, and I'd like to share this video too, which is that when we look at Kevin Samuels and the dynasties from Alyssa Sharp's dynasties, this is a cosmic reading, that he's a part of the Canis Venatici dynasty, which is an entire dynasty that is very much connected to this competitiveness amongst men, this desire for a very specific type of physical woman. This is a very physical natured cosmic energy. So, and I think it's probably one of the more dominantly valued in society today, especially in Western society, for men to be more physically choosing, right? Very different than Eastern societies where some of the women completely cover themselves because the men aren't necessarily abiding by those values. Hold on, you guys. I might have to timestamp this because I'm at the park and I got to talk to my daughter. Now, you have your own dolls, okay? She doesn't want to share. She doesn't have. You want to be? No? Okay, we're going to leave soon, okay? No, because that's hers. If she doesn't want to share, she's not going to share it. Okay? which is perfect. Let me go ahead and pull in the universe for pulling me about sharing and a feminine energy. Feminine energy shares, but she doesn't always have to. She has to be able to maintain boundaries. Okay, this is why feminine energy in women is not enough. Women have to have the balance of masculinity and femininity. If she becomes completely open without her own discernment of what to open to, this is where we can find issues of feeling abandoned, issues of feeling overused, over abused. Okay, so this is an important thing to talk about. I also want to talk about this idea of physical attraction being based off of fitness, okay? Because Kevin Samuels talked about fitness, and I think that people are very confused when they hear physical attraction and fitness, okay? Because, yeah, it's atypical that you would see somebody who is slender, slim, perfect body proportionate and think that, okay, that is somebody who is fit, when that's not necessarily the case. There's various ways in which you have certain body types that can be more slender and not be fit. You can also have certain body types that are going to be thicker, more muscle mass, you know what I'm saying? And they are fit. Now, clearly, a lot of people might say, okay, well, if you've got fat on you, then that means that you're unhealthy, that you're unkept, and that makes you, unfit. It also makes you not valued. I think that that's the whole issue about certain women who are obese anyways. The dark side of the fact that women aren't valued, period. They're not valued by, at least as far as the physical nature, that a woman who is dealing with weight issues probably has, especially specifically obese, overweight, right? Because I'm not going to sit here and be disillusioned to the fact that a doctor would measure, certain women and say, okay, you're morbidly obese, you're unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? But to take Kevin Samuels, what he's saying, and saying that her value depletes because she's not physically attractive is, first of all, not true. Second, because there's various examples of women who are overweight, who are high value, who make money, who are attractive, who gain, partners that love them. Those examples do exist. So the issue is that you can create the world that you want to live in, and the world that Kevin Samuels has created, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's not for everybody. And I think that his purpose is beautiful, because for the people that it's not for, they can start to change the normalities of what is accepted and what isn't. It's like I said, Kevin Samuels belongs to a very specific dynasty. He's doing the job of his dynasty. There's no reason to take him down. He's doing what he is supposed to do. But what are you supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? If you disagree with him, then where's the world that you're creating where it's okay for women to embrace masculine energy, their masculine energy? Where's the world where a woman is overweight and is seen as attractive? A big bellied woman is seen as just attractive as a big booty woman. You know what I'm saying? You can create that world, and the people who disbelieve it, they're just not made for that world. But it doesn't mean that that world doesn't exist. So if I'm losing anybody, it's because I'm speaking on a more spiritual space. I'm speaking from a place of more godliness and your ability to create your world. Did you say thank you? Go say thank you. Go say thank you and go play with her. No, ask her. That's hers. Ask her. So, I mean, even when you think about femininity as a mother, you know what I'm saying? There are various aspects as a mother that we need to embody. One of those aspects is the fact that we have to be more nurturing and caring for our children, but we also have to direct them. We have to show them the way. You know what I'm saying? This happens and occurs in motherhood as an individual yourself. As an individual, you want to embody both your masculine and feminine energies. So I just feel like where I want to take this is, if you fall too far into the shadows of the Candace Benatici energy, of the Kevin Samuels energy, right? The people who fend for Kevin Samuels, they have a good argument that people twist his words. Well, I'm going to say and stand here and say that the people who follow him twist his words too, because they take his doctrine and they run with it, with all of the negative and toxic mentalities that they have, and they just spill out these concepts of what is physically attractive or not. And when it comes to the Black community, I'm going to talk about this model of physical attraction that has been going on since been, okay? Because The moment that you start to talk about beauty is when you start to talk about culture. You start to talk, and you have to, as a Black person, look at the origins of our culture and why is it that we would even consider beauty to be a certain way versus not. And for anybody who's going to stand here and tell me that, that Black culture, we don't need to look at the origins of why we're beautiful. And if you're going to stand here and tell me that certain women from the Black culture do not feel beautiful, or that doesn't matter, or that's not important, then you need to get off my page, because you know nothing and care nothing about Black women specifically. Okay? Because when we look at culture, there's a very specific type of Black woman that has been pushed, and this originates all the way from being in a slave mentality. Okay, so this type of Black woman, forgive me sisters, but this certain type of Black woman, unless you're naive and ignorant to it, or you're so privileged that you can't see it, is a very light-skinned woman who has, a very specific type of hair type that's not kinky, and has a certain body type, of course, because all men, well, not all men, but a lot of men glorify a very specific body type. And these days, the high skin color and the big booty becomes one of those big things. Okay, so everybody pushes for this idea of a high value woman being beautiful, but before you start to say, oh, she needs to be beautiful and attractive, what is your concept of beauty, and where does it come from, and why, and do you know why? You know what I'm saying? Because that is going to matter when you indulge into somebody like Kevin Samuels. And as a woman who is of a dark-skinned nature, a woman who has kinky curly hair, I'm not buying the whole physical attraction beauty thing, because I know where it comes from. I know where it comes from. It comes from the fact that Black men were used as entertainment for the families, and they were often pinned against each other. They were often fought against each other, and whoever would win would have the trophy wives, which would be the specific Black women that were in the household, tending and caring for the household. Some call them the house niggas, right, versus the field niggas, basically. So these women who are in the household usually were of a higher skin color, and they usually were the ones who were considered the trophies for certain men who were used as, dogs, in that time to entertain their quote unquote masters or whatever. So when we look at the glorification of a specific color code of woman, we have to ask questions. And this is not about the fact that light-skinned women are more beautiful or whatever. This is about holding space for every woman. And if you pin a certain type of woman at the top as being beautiful, then what about the women who are actually not of that caliber? And there's nothing they can do about it, like changing their skin color. But they can now, because they can buy skin lightening creams. If you come to my neighborhood, right down the block at the dollar store, the entire beauty section is filled with skin lightening creams. Thank you very much. So I want it to be important that I can hold space for all Black women to be beautiful. And I think that this idea of a high value woman, it evokes a toxic competition amongst women. Now, some women are going to come here and stand and be like, well, I don't feel competitive. Well, I'm not talking to you, okay? I'm talking to the women who do. Because I attract a lot of people who think about themselves first. Why? Because that's my shadow. My shadow is I'm too enmeshed into everything, and I don't have my own individuality. You know what I'm saying? So I end up attracting people who's like, well, that's not me. Well, no, I'm not talking about you, but there's a whole bunch of people that are not like you, that suffer from different things. That's who I'm fucking talking to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so tired of myself. That's why I'm getting mad. I'm so tired of myself for allowing it to be okay that, I just don't speak up for my point of view. And as a dark-skinned Black woman, it's so important to be able to speak up for your point of view. Otherwise, people will trample on you. And these people can look just like you in the sense that they can be other Black people. They could be other Black men. They could be other Black women. They could be women in your family that they don't even care. They don't care about your feelings. And you want to sit here and talk to me about femininity, but you don't want to look at the source of pain for all women. You just want to care about yourself and stand for yourself. Well, I'm not having it. I'm not doing it on this channel. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even saying that Kevin Samuels is a bad guy. He's doing what he's got to do. There's certain things that he says that brings a lot of truth. All that I'm using is bouncing off of what he's saying and making a claim that it doesn't always have to be this way. You don't have to choose this. And if you're triggered by what he says, I'm here to remind you that you create your own world. Don't live in Kevin Samuel's world. Live in your world if you don't fuck with it. Let him do what he needs to do for other people, and you start doing and standing in your purpose in whatever capacity that is and on whatever level that is. Because if he triggers you, he's a reflection of you, that you're not standing in your purpose, that you don't believe that you have a voice, that he's right. If you disagree with him and you do nothing, you are enabling it to happen, because your soul and spirit came here to experience Kevin Samuels and to create its own path. And that's what I want to say to everyone who is watching this feed, that we don't need to take from other people. We don't need to say that they don't belong. We don't need to take from their space. We don't even need to feel threatened by them. But if you do, use that energy, because you're so magical. Use that energy, turn it around, and stand in your purpose and speak up for yourself. Speak for yourself, speak for your people, speak and stand up for yourself. Because that's all that he's doing, and you see how powerful that shit is. That's all that he's doing, and you see how powerful that shit is, okay? So if we go back to the origins of the standard of beauty, we can understand why certain women are not going for this, okay? So yeah, he does say that there's other aspects of your femininity that make you attractive. You know what I'm saying? But the physical part is what I want to talk to you guys about today, because people take shit and they run with it in such a toxic way, and it pushes this whole trend, just like the vegan trend. It pushes this whole trend where people don't even see that they're just sheep, just following along, versus trying to awaken themselves to their purpose, okay? Certain people need to follow Kevin Samuels, but I'm telling you right now, certain people don't. And he's there for that purpose as well. Okay? Black women have been, very specifically, Black women have been pinned against each other since the beginning of the origins of America. So please, somebody tell me, right, that doesn't exist. I can change my story anytime I want. But before I change my story, I need to say this shit. You know what I'm saying? Privilege, it doesn't matter if privilege is privilege. It doesn't matter about race. It doesn't matter about gender. Privilege is privilege. And the ones who are privileged, they never look back and take a look and say, you know what, let me extend my hands out to the person that's not like me. You know what I'm saying? So this is why you have to stand in your purpose. This is why you have to know what it is that you're about, know what space you're going to take up, and then take up that space. Okay, because this whole concept of what is beautiful is completely contorted all of the time. And it takes it out of the space of science and health, and it puts it into this place where it becomes unhealthy. It becomes toxic, right? Like veganism was pushed, and everything was toxic because everybody started telling people that if they're a meat eater, that they're wrong and shit like that. That shit is not spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're vegan and you're eating vegetables, but you're still not spiritual. And if you want to understand what I mean by spiritual, check out the latest live that I did about tapping into your cosmic intelligence. You know what I'm saying? And now it's, you know, big booty culture, because having a nice ass and having a big, well-rounded ass has a lot to do with your posture and your entire body alignment and your ability to disperse fat. So yeah, there's something that's really beautiful about the big booty culture. But the whole other thing about it is that people will push it so far, and they want to be a part of it so bad that they will do whatever it takes to do it. And then what? So somebody please come and tell me how I'm wrong if I want to talk about plastic surgery being used in a toxic way. Because all of the happy people are going to be like, let people be. Fine, they can be, as long as they know that they're being toxic. Okay? Because yeah, you can have plastic surgery for various reasons, but what is the intention if you're trying to do it just to get a big ass, just to be like everyone, fit in, or attract another man? It's plastic. It's not even real. You didn't go through the healthy reasons on why you want a big ass. You just wanted a big ass, so you filled it up with a bunch of shit so that you could appear to be a certain way. And I can judge because I wanted it. I had to go through a whole process of not wanting it anymore so that I could truly love myself. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm out here training. I'm doing my squats. I'm working on my posture, because that's what it's really about. You know, there's women that are out here pushing out their backs, pushing out the bottom part of their pelvis so that it becomes tilted, and they think, oh, now that I'm pushing it out, I look cute and I have a big ass, when you're tilting your entire spine. You know what I'm saying? So are we going to talk about those things, or do we want to keep it peachy keen light all the time? You know, and I'm just not doing that anymore. I'm not being generalized and, bland just to keep everybody happy. I'm going to create and pave my own world, my own road, and I just encourage everyone to do the same thing. So if you're watching the live, thank you for sitting and listening to me rant, because I don't know if you guys even have time for this kind of stuff, but you did take the time, and I appreciate you being here, because I need you. I need validation. I need an audience. I need a confidant. And that's why I'm here. Okay? And I just hope that even though I used you because I need you, that you will see that I really just putting all of my pure intentions, not for you to feel judged or shamed because you did certain things that I think is quote unquote wrong. This is not about that. And if you focus on that part, you miss the whole thing. Because that whole part of me deciding what I think is right or wrong is about me crafting myself. So what is your self? What is your experiences? What have your experiences lead you to be? And you be that. Don't worry about what I think is right or wrong. You go be what you think is right or wrong. Peace and love.